Once upon a time, there was a village named Sonpura. This village was once famous for its fertile land and golden harvests. But now, the condition of the village was worsening day by day. The crops were drying up and worry lines were clearly visible on the farmers' faces. The rains were no longer coming on time, and due to drought, there was a severe shortage of water. The village's oldest farmer, Raghuveer, called all the villagers to a meeting. In a serious voice, Raghuveer said, "Our village is in crisis. If we don't act quickly, we will all starve. We need a miracle." All the villagers looked at one another. No one had the courage to speak. Just then, the youngest boy in the village, Amman, stood up and said, "We cannot give up. We must do something." Raghuveer looked at him and nodded. "You're absolutely right, Amman, but what can we do?" Amman said, "I remember a story my grandmother once told me, the story of the golden harvest. We must find out if there is any truth behind that tale." The villagers listened to him with curiosity. Someone said, "Isn't that just a story?" Another asked, "Could it really be true?" Amman said firmly, "We have to at least try." The next day, Amman and his friends Suraj and Radha came together to make a plan. They went to the old temple in their village, hoping to find some clues about the golden harvest. The temple priest Pandit Ji helped them gain access to old books and documents. Pandit Ji pulled out an ancient book and said, "This book tells us stories from our ancestors. It's possible it contains a reference to the golden harvest." Amman opened the book and began to read. His eyes lit up. It says here that the golden harvest grows from a special seed, which is very difficult to find. But if we can obtain it, all our troubles could be over. Suraj asked, "Where can we find this seed?" Radha pointed to another page in the book and said, "It says here that the seed is hidden in a secret cave, located some distance from our village." Amman looked at his friends and said, "We must set out immediately to find that cave." Amman, Suraj and Radha began their journey. The path was difficult and full of dangers, but their hearts were filled with hope and determination. After walking day and night, they finally reached the place where the cave was believed to be located. Radha said nervously, "This place looks really scary. Are we sure we want to go in?" Amman smiled and replied, "There's no need to be afraid. If we don't enter this cave, we'll never find the seed of the golden harvest." Suraj encouraged them, saying, "Come on, we are all together. Nothing will go wrong." They entered the cave. Inside, it was deep and dark. Slowly, they made their way forward. Suddenly, a glowing light appeared within the cave. They moved toward the light and saw a small seed kept inside a stone box. Amman picked up the seed and said, "This is it. We must take it back to the village." Amman, Suraj and Radha safely emerged from the cave and began their journey back to the village. Upon reaching the village, everyone breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing them. They told the villagers about the seed and handed it over to Raghuveer. Looking at the seed, Raghuveer said, "This truly looks like a miraculous seed. We must plant it immediately." The villagers came together to prepare the fields and sowed the seed. Everyone hoped that this seed would change their fate. Within a few days, the seed sprouted and began to grow into a plant. The villagers took care of the plant every day. Suraj said excitedly, "Look how quickly the plant is growing." Radha laughed and said, "We must not lose hope. Soon our harvest will be ready." One day, while the villagers were tending to their crops, a stranger suddenly arrived in the village. His name was Kalia. He looked extremely dangerous and cunning. He said to the villagers, "I've heard that you possess a magical seed. I want that seed." Raghuveer replied firmly, "This seed is the hope of a village. We will not give it away at any cost." Kalia said angrily, "If you don't give me the seed, you will have to pay a heavy price." The villagers grew frightened, but Amman bravely said, "We will not give up our seed under any circumstances. If you try to harm us, you will regret it." Kalia let out a mocking laugh and said, "Let's see how you stop me," and he left with a threatening warning. The villagers continued to care for their crops day and night. Despite Kalia's threats, they did not lose hope. Slowly, the crops began to shine like gold. Every person in the village was astonished by the sight. Suraj shouted with joy, "Our crops have truly turned into gold." Radha said, "This is the result of our hard work. We must protect our harvest." Amman said to Raghuveer, "We need to stay alert. Kalia could attack at any moment." Raghuveer gathered everyone and said, "We all must protect our crops together. No one will stand alone. We will face this challenge united." One night, while all the villagers were guarding their crops, Kalia arrived with his companions to attack the village. He tried to intimidate the villagers by showing off his strength. Amman, along with his friends, came up with a plan. They quietly approached Kalia and surrounded him. Amman said, "We will go to any extent to protect our crops. Leave our village at once." Kalia laughed and said, "Kids like you can't defeat me." But Amman and his friends countered all his tricks and successfully defeated him. The villagers joined forces and drove Kalia and his companions out of the village. Everyone hugged each other and celebrated with joy. The villagers harvested the golden crop together and sold it to improve the condition of their village. Prosperity returned to every home. Every villager praised the bravery of Amman, Suraj and Radha. Raghuveer gathered all the villagers and said, "We achieved this miracle together. We must always remain united and protect our village." Amman smiled and said, "We will always stand together and face every challenge." There was a joyful atmosphere in the village, and everyone embraced a new beginning. Sonpura once again became famous for its golden harvest, and together they took a step toward a better future. If you like the story, then subscribe, share, and press the bell icon of the channel for more interesting stories.